Hello again, painters. It's Debbie from acrylicpouring.com, and I'm very excited and very nervous today because look at the size of this. This is the first time I'm going to do what I would consider a large project. Up until now I've been working on small 6-inch tiles, maybe an 8x10 canvas panel, a 9x11 I think has been the largest that I've done, plus of course I've done some records which are about 12 inches, but this one much bigger. This is I think almost 13 inches wide by 24 inches long, so it's large. It's a large ceramic tile with a matte surface, and I'm going to try and do something similar to a project that I did before. So have a look back. This is where I put a puddle of paint in the center, surrounded it by white and blew the paint out towards the edges, and I liked it so much I'm going to try this now for my first large project. So in terms of my paint colours, I've got a cobalt blue just here, then I've got an ultramarine blue, then I've mixed these two, which are an emerald green and a chrome yellow, kind of 50-50 to make this bright green. I've also got some of this Deco Art metallics in teal, and of course I'll be using a white. I've got my little levels set up, so I've checked that the tile is level, because once it's poured I want it to sit here. It's going to be too clumsy to try and move it around, so I need it to stay as it is, hopefully. So those are all good. Okay. I've also moved my table so that it's in the middle of the room today, because normally I work on one side of the table and everything is within reach. But today I thought, if I do intend to be blowing with a straw, I'm probably going to blow from this direction, and then I'm going to want to turn around to the other side, come in from the other side of the table and blow this way. But we'll see yet. I'm hoping that I can do it with a straw to get more control, but I've also got my hairdryer here in the end that I end up blowing so much that I'm nearly passing out. So we'll see. In terms of paint, I'm also never done anything this big, so I'm not sure exactly how much paint I'm going to use. So hopefully, fingers crossed, things are going to go well. But hey, we're all friends here. I know you're not going to laugh too badly at me if things don't quite work out as expected. So I'm going to clear the surface and let's get started. So my paints are all mixed according to my usual recipe or formula. I use 1 tablespoon of paint to 1/2 tablespoon of Floetrol and around a teaspoon of water, and then all of the colours other than the white do have some drops of silicone oil in them, and that's the kind of consistency, if you can see that dripping off, that I've got for all of my paints. So what I'm going to do exactly the same as before. I started with a puddle. Now before I did a square tile. This time it's oblong, and what I'm hoping to do is get something that's more diagonal. So I'm going to try and pour more of a diagonal puddle and then work out from there. So we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to start with the darker colour. And then just some metallics, because you can never have too much metallics in a project as far as I'm concerned. Let's put a nice big band of that one. So my plan is to put 1 band of each colour and then come back and do another band. We'll see. So there's this nice bright green. I'm really keeping my fingers crossed I've got enough paint, because if I don't, then I'm assuming it's not going to work out as I'm expecting. Then I'll put some white through the centre here. I'm expecting the white is not going to show up so much, because with the larger puddle of paint like this, it's seeping down through because it's heavier, but I'm thinking it will show up later when I blow. So let's go with some more blue through the middle. And then some more metallic. I'll come to the end of that one now, and I don't have any more, so I'm just going to scrape out the pot and get as much of that one out as I can. Might as well use every little bit. Ooh, it's got a bit stringy around the edges. Then what do I need? Some more of the nice bright green. I've mixed up some extra of this one in another cup, so I don't have to worry too much. There we are, I've got some more here. More bright green, there we go. Some more white. Oh, now I've been forgetting to use my cobalt blue. Okay, I thought I was a bit short on the colours. So let's put a big patch there, and I'll put plenty now through this centre. See, I entirely forgot about the cobalt blue because it was in the squeeze bottle and not with the others. So what have we got? A bit more of the darker blue. I think I've got plenty of this colour anyway. I don't think I'm going to be short in the end of colour to blow around, but I don't know if I'll have enough white, we'll see. A bit more of the dark blue. Thin line of the green, and then I'll finish off with some white. I'll use the squeeze bottle, make sure I'm getting it through the centre there. And now this is kind of spreading out a little bit, so I've got loads of paint. I know I have absolutely tons of it here, so I'm just going to spread it out a little bit more so that I don't have to use so much white when it comes to blowing the paint around. I'm going to have plenty here, and if I spread it a little bit more now, I haven't got to put so much white. So I'll just flood around the outside straight away with some white. And then I can pour with my cup into these other areas. And I'm pretty sure if it was like the tile that I did, as soon as I start blowing, everything kind of moves out such a lot from the centre anyway, that although the tile isn't covered for the time being, I'm confident that when I start blowing, it soon will be. So that's it. I've got a bit more white in my squeezy bottle if I need to, but might as well just start to spread this a little bit into these corners. Because that's quite a lot of white there. I don't want to waste it by spreading it all over the edges. So I might spread it around with my stick a little bit before we get started. There we go. So maybe now I won't pass out quite so much when I have to blow. We'll see. I am still going to want my design probably to go over the edge like the last one. Oh no, I'm going to get paint. Oh, I might as well put it on my arm. I'm going to get paint all over my hairdryer if I don't push that out of the way for a second. Okay, so I'm sure I've got hundreds of paint there. It's absolutely more than enough. So let me just pop the hairdryer on the floor. Wipe my hands up a little bit because I've made a bit of a mess already. So the colours are looking good. So now let me start giving it a blow with the straw and see how I go on before I get the hairdryer out if I don't need it. Oh. Oh, that is lovely. This area here is a little bit mixed now, more than this area, so I think I'm going to start working back in this direction again. I like also the way the paint's kind of sprayed off a little bit here. The edges look nice when it does that, so I'll try and concentrate a bit more on the edges. I've got some edges of the tile to cover just here and here, so let me do those. That's good. This is nice here. So I need to keep blowing a little bit more off to this corner. It's interesting how this area here is much more blue, and then some of these others a little bit more muted. This area here, for example, has got a lot more of the metallics in it, but where it blows off the edges a little bit, I think some nice interest here and here. So let me keep blowing in this direction. I need a little bit of extra white on this edge because I don't want to disrupt the pattern too much, because I've already got as much, I think, as I like just here. So I'll just put a bit more white and then just blow that over the edge. Yeah, I think I like that better. Okay, time to work again around this other side. Let's see what we've got. I'm going to fill in with a bit of white just here and just a little bit up in this corner. There, it's a bit thin. Wow. So that is pretty nice. I'm going to just come around the other side. Somehow things always look better for me from this direction. Okay, I've got a little bit of white there to fill in, just a little bit. That will help it over the sides. Once I have this little bit of white, it helps to drag the paint over so the pattern comes over the side too, which is really nice. So in fact the white that I'm adding kind of drips off, but it does bring the paint down. A little bit more white there. That was a bit thin. I can probably blow that off. Okay, that's good. And here's a little just a little slightly thinner piece there. Wow. So I think I'm happy. I'm just going to look at it in the screen, because sometimes that gives me a different perspective looking at it in the screen on the camera than it does down here. I like the diagonal movement through the centre. I like the way the paint is splattered off the edge and created the cells and things around here. This bit here I'm not quite so happy with. It's a little bit muddy in these areas. I wonder if I should just try and blow in this direction a little bit more and see what happens. Oh, there goes my arm in the paint again. I'm not used to working on something so big. Let's see how that settles. And I can see I've got a bubble there too, so let's give that a pop. So I like how this side actually is different to this side, because nobody wants something that's symmetrical, do they? That looks nice now. I'm just going to blow it out a little bit more there. Yeah, I don't think I'm improving it by doing it anymore. So what I am going to do is just lightly torch it, especially around, not so much in the middle, although I'll go over it just lightly in case there's any bubbles in the paint, because I have been blowing into it. Just looking down from the side, I don't see very much, but I'm just going to give it a torch, especially around these edges, and I think that might bring out any more details we've got there. So that's broken up the cells here on the edges, broken the paint down and moved it more into the white. It actually looks really nice. And the same over this side. These have kind of, you know, spread and broken up, so that looks nice. And this here now looks really nice. I wasn't sure about that, but now I've torched it, it looks good. So I'm just going to go lightly now over the whole surface. I don't actually want to create too much. I just want to make sure there's not too much in the way of any bubbles in there. Okay, so what do you think? Whew. I've got a bit of a headache, but I didn't pass out. I didn't need to resort to the hairdryer, and I think the straw gave me a lot more control. So I'm really happy with how it's come out. I've got a few just little blank areas on the side, which I think I'll just need to touch up with a little bit of white paint and a paintbrush, and I'm going to do that now off the camera, and then I'll come back and show you some of the details. So this is what it looks like now. I've just touched up all of the edges, and I have to say I think it's pretty spectacular. I'm loving the colours, I'm loving all the details. It's better than I could have hoped for, so that's always a good sign, isn't it? So let's just zoom in and take a look at some of the details here. Some really nice stuff going on. Love the way the colours are all mixing together. Really nice. And then over here, this was the area that I wasn't quite so sure about originally, but now I'm really liking it. Once I added the torch, I think it came out really nice. And all along this edge, it's a little bit, the colours aren't so mixed on this side. There's not so much of the metallic, and there's more of the green and the darker blue quite distinctly. So I think this area looks nice. And then as we come over, we've got the corner here, and the way the paint kind of just feathers into the white. That's really nice. And there's so many great macro details here. I should probably spend half an hour now with my camera just going over it really close up and picking out all of my favourite little bits and pieces to keep. So now I've got to keep my fingers crossed that the pouring gods will let it stay this way. I know that it was level, but obviously there's still quite a little bit of paint left on here, so I think it's going to take quite a few days to dry, especially because it's on a tile. I found that anything that I do on a tile takes longer to dry than it does on a canvas, because obviously it's not such a porous surface and the air doesn't circulate underneath the paint like it would do on a canvas. So I'm going to let it dry. Hopefully I'm not going to stick my finger in it and ruin it like I so often do on some of my favourite paintings. I think I'll need to close the door and just be patient. And then of course, if all goes well, I'll come back and show you what it looks like when it's all dried, finished and varnished up. So here it is now, all finished. It dried for a long time before I was brave enough to put any varnish on it, because in the past when I've painted tiles I have had problems not leaving them to dry long enough because I got too impatient and excited, and this one has certainly got me excited. I'm so delighted with how it's come out, and it's got a lot of texture. So where the paint was thicker in some places than others, where you've got the lines where it was blown, it's got a lot of actual texture that you can still see in it. It's had about 5 coats now of varnish, and I might put another 1 or 2 on just to make sure that it's absolutely perfect, but I already think it's absolutely perfect anyway. I was also going to just show you what it looks like up on a stand, so let me go and do that. Plastic base and then a white spring-loaded back, and they are really strong. When they first came I looked at them and thought, oh, I don't know about that, but the spring loading on the bottom of these stands is absolutely exceptional. So it will easily take the weight of this tile, and I was surprised because I bought a whole box of them thinking, well, you know, maybe I'll need to stand it on 2 or 3 because of the weight, but these are really strong. So if you like to display your tiles, then get some of these. I'll put a link underneath where you can get them. They come in 3 different sizes. I got the largest one for this tile. Let me show you what it looks like. So there we go. You can see that it stands up and it's really secure there, so there's no problem. And the clear stand at the bottom is just really unobtrusive. You just don't know it. Don't know it's there. And then when it's stood up on the stand for display, it's really secure, and I think it looks really good. So thank you very much for watching and taking part as I did my first ever large pour.